Okay, so this is we're on lesson 302 today, and I've been derelict in my duties for a couple of days, but I had to go out of town, and the truth is, I think I'm gonna have to either write about it or sort of do a little video about it. But there's I wouldn't even know how to begin to express this, but since my first experiences with Jesus and God, vision, and this is what this today's lesson is about, as a matter of fact, where darkness was, I look upon the light. Um, Let me forgive your holy world, that I may look upon its holiness and understand it, but reflects my own. Father, our eyes are opening. At last, your holy world awaits us as our sight is finally restored. Our sight is finally restored. So, obviously, and remember, you don't use these things as tools of judgment or as ways to, how should I put it, think you're failing. That's the biggest. Don't think you're failing because you don't know how to judge anything, let alone success from failure. And it's important you just do these the way they're laid out, read the words, and look at them for what they mean in relationship to where you are. It's all good information. When we if we con ourselves into thinking something's happening that is not happening, which in fact is the initial error. The initial error was us conning ourselves, and we continue to do it. When we just look directly at things, and this is what we're shown in this lesson. The vision of Christ looks right through the false, can only see what is true, so therefore looks through the illusion past space and time and into the eternity and the eternity of its own existence, of its own reality. We thought we suffered, but we have forgot the Son whom you created. Now we see that darkness is our own imagining, and light is there for us to look upon. Christ's vision changes darkness into light. Now, if you can begin to get a handle on this, you can begin to remember the action of mind, which is creation, as your true reality. Okay, when I talk about God, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to express this the right way. My experience of God is not meeting another person who's bigger and grander. My experience is the recognition of a creative totality of which I am part of as an activity of magnificent, brilliant extension of itself, which is full, total, whole, and everything. Okay? Now, where darkness was, I look upon the light. What we're being asked to do in A Course in Miracles, and what we're doing by utilizing forgiveness in the early lessons, is undoing our thoughts that the world we see has any meaning and is in fact anything whatsoever. It's merely nothing. The dream doesn't exist in reality, so therefore it is nothing. Okay? We're learning to equate darkness with nothingness, rather than darkness with something that is unknown to us, that has the ability to do something to us which could cause us harm or loss or fear or guilt. What we're learning to do is associate darkness with nothingness. And therefore, where darkness was, I look upon the light. Where there was nothing, I look upon light, because light is the extension of my own mind, and I am the light of the world, and where I go, the light goes with me, that I may look upon its holiness and understand it but reflects my own. So, we're being restored through forgiveness to an action of mind, And Jesus talks about forgiveness parallels creation, to an action of mind that mirrors how our mind creates in reality and restores us to the trust, faith, and understanding by eliminating the fear of our own thinking and our own thought process, as God created us to think as creators. We're learning to eliminate the fear of that right here in space and time by utilizing the same mind, but within the world of space and time, by giving the symbols a new understanding through a process of releasing the old in this moment now, so that with the light of our new minds, we can look and see that the past is gone. There is nothing to fear, and we've always been exactly who we are as God created us, where we are. Our love awaits us as we go to Him and walks beside us, showing us the way. He fails in nothing. He is the end we seek, and He the means by which we go to Him. And remember, this is what Jesus feels good at remembering and recognizing. Give to God that which is God. And when Jesus was always asked about the healings, He would say, don't say that I did it. You were healed by your own faith. You were healed by the power in your own mind. Putting faith in the totality of your own reality. And that's what heals us. Okay? He fails in nothing. So in one sense, it is the Christ in us, the divinity within us, which is, what would be the right word? The actual life that seems to give animation to the dream of space and time is but the power of our own divinity. And the power of our own divinity is the power of God creating. Because we are one with God creating, one with all our brothers as God created us to be, and one in the triune totality of reality, wherein which the action of creation has been born in you as you were born in your Father. Okay? So it is the action of creation that was born in you as you. That is the action of God creating. That is the power that goes before you to straighten the way and narrow the gate, and actually accomplishes everything. And in God, all things are possible. Okay? And that's what we're getting to. In you, all things are possible because you are one with God, and the power of who you are is the power of God creating. Now, the problem is that when you attempt to use that power for yourself and against other things, no matter what it is, because you're against one thing, you're against anything. But when you utilize the power, and by not deciding on your own, but allowing your decisions to be made by an authority that you are one with, but an authority that is one with all of our brothers, so that the decisions that are made can be recognized and utilized as for the good of all. And you'd never be able to understand that or see that on your own, which is why we defer. We choose the second place to gain the first. Because when we choose the second, when we step back and let Him lead the way, the Christ goes before us and straightens the way, narrows the gate, and we simply follow. The lead that the light has afforded us through the visions that we've been receiving as we free ourselves. And as I said in the beginning, today seems to be one of those days where it was like sort of a combination of an understanding of how all these visions that I thought may be disparate come together, and I was shown something, and I don't necessarily initiate, but I do have learned that when things that I am shown have the ability to be made manifest if they are useful for the fulfillment of my function and the function of my brothers in the plan for atonement. And if I step back and allow them to be made manifest through me, then there's a grace that things seems to happen by. So while I've been given this vision, and I'm holding this vision, and I'm willing to follow the vision, I'm not willing to initiate action on the part of my own, for myself, without the, let's call it, the path being well lit by the Spirit as I step forward. And it's also something that I know I can't do alone, nor do I want to do alone. And there are some brothers in my mind who I think may be meant to help in this endeavor. But we'll see. So it was a big, bright day for me today. And as I said, I'm sorry to get to this lesson so late, but better late than never. Where darkness was, I look upon the light. And remember, we're restoring our mind to the truth of who we are and the action of the creative reality that we were created to be part of and as. And if we associate darkness with nothingness, and we begin to understand that where nothing was, the light shines, and there is creation as well. But there's no loss, and there's no fear, because while we can imagine monsters in the dark, the light will show us that those monsters were merely formulations in the darkness of our own mind from the recesses where fear has yet to be released. So where darkness was, I look upon the light. Our love awaits us as we go to him and walks beside us, showing us the way he fails in nothing. He fails in nothing. And remember, he that fails in nothing is what you are a whole, perfect, creating, unified, harmonious part of. So the he that fails in nothing, he is the end we seek, he the means by which we go to him. You cannot get to the Father except through the Son, because being the Son, you must accept who you are in order to recognize who and what your reality is. So it's funny, he fails in nothing. The he that we're speaking of is the totality of who you are when you recognize that you've never been separate from reality, and you could not, ever not be a part of everything, that creation.